What is going on, guys? It's Crazy Pickle with another Skyforge video. So I continue to do the videos for the New Horizon update, and in this video I want to talk about the new class symbols. So what I'm going to do, since there is a lot of symbols to talk about, I'm gonna split this part on 3 parts, I would say, maybe 4. So because there's a lot of DPS classes and I don't want to make videos too long, so what I'm going to do, I'm gonna go the support symbols first, which is 3 support classes. Then the second part would be the defense symbols for the defense classes, and the third and fourth part would be the DPS symbol classes. I mean DPS symbols for the DPS classes. So in this video I'm gonna talk about just the support classes, and just not to make this video too long, let's jump right into it. So we're just gonna open the class or equipment menu, whatever, abilities, and we're just gonna go over the support symbols. So the new symbols, I believe the total symbols is 45 or maybe more, since there is a 17 classes, 3 symbols for each, so it definitely not less than 45 symbols. So the first one, let's start with an Alchemist, and the first one is, okay, well, I'm gonna start like that. There's 3 different colors: red, gold, and the green, and the main names is, it's gonna be Scarlet, Gold, and Emerald. I'm not sure why they call that Scarlet and then Gold and Emerald, but okay. So the first symbol is unstable compound for the Alchemist. The Alchemist loses 25 points of catalyst. If you don't know what's the catalyst is, it's your energy, which is the blue bar underneath your health. Every second, instead gaining the following bonuses depending on the amount they have. So the 1000 points of energy reduces the cooldown of protective shell, which is your shield. 2000 points of energy, a 25% chance to recover a spent companion charge, which is your impulse charge, and 3000 points of energy passively restores 2% of your health per second. Well, by the description, I do like the reducing cooldown for the protector shell, and I kinda like the passively restores 2% of health per second. So, but it's not the best symbol for the Alchemist, kind of a more of a support survival thing for the Alchemist, but still it's not that great. I did get that symbol first, but when I actually see it in action, so it doesn't make a lot of big difference if you're not gonna have that symbol. So the second symbol is Burning Plasma. Predatory ectoplasm deals area damage, so your predatory ectoplasm now it deals area damage. I'm not sure, I didn't test it how much, if it's like the split damage or it still stay the same. So every 6 ectoplasm grants the experimental compound effect to the Alchemist. So for those who doesn't know what's the experimental compound, if you open your abilities and when you're using your deadly experiment, which is your finishing strike, after that you get that the experimental compound. So but in this case, this symbol actually grants you that effect on every 6 ectoplasm that hits target. So you drop 6 slimes, you got that experimental compound. Then what it does, when you use your left click, which is the acidic solution, it will apply 8 stacks of that effect, which is that you can use your right click to explode it. It will deal extra damage, but it also has a chance to proc your let's see what it calls again. It's a creeping horror, so which makes the next 3 predatory ectoplasm free and increases their damage by 200%. So with this symbol, which I'm using right now, actually, what I noticed that, let's say you have already 5 stacks of acidic solution on a target, and then when you get the experimental compound from this symbol, and then you use the left click to apply extra 8 stacks, it will combine. So let's say you have already 5 on a target, you add 8 more, so it's 13 total would be stacks on the target, and then you right click it to explode the debuff, deal extra damage. And of course that I noticed that it increases the chance. I think it's a little bit higher chance when you have more stacks of that effect on the target to proc that creeping horror for the free slimes. So pretty much if you do everything right, you technically can keep using those free slimes with an extra 200% damage on that, so which is a pretty good thing. I will definitely do more testing and see how much damage it actually deals when especially the area damage. To at least I only have the training room, so probably gonna be the best way, but I might also try that in some kind of missions, maybe go to the squad or something like that and try that as well. But I don't think it's gonna be a lot of area damage. I don't think it's gonna be that much compared to maybe like a strongest enemies, but again, I'll test it out and we'll see. And the third symbol is dangerous conversion. The maximum number of acidic solution or combustible solution effects on the target is increased by 6. So the minimum is 8. Now with this symbol you will have increased by 6, which will total would be 14 stacks, either left acidic solution or combustible solution on a target, which also might also increase your chance of getting that creeping horror effect for the free slimes as well. And also the predatory ectoplasm with this symbol increases the number of existing solution effects on the target by 2. So every time you're using your slimes, it will add that 2 stacks of effect on the target, which is a pretty good thing. That way you can keep that acidic solution on the target all the time, and then just use the right click anytime you want to explode it to deal that extra damage. And if there are no effects on the target, it applies 2 stacks of acidic solution. So pretty much that now with that symbol you can actually apply acidic solution to the target just by using your predatory ectoplasm, which is a pretty good thing, because not all, like when you, especially when you have the creeping horror procced, which is your free slimes, it actually helps a lot, because sometimes you get that a lot of that pop in the free slimes, and then you can just use those, and then you boom, you already have 8 stacks or even more stacks of acidic solution, and just use the right click and explode it and get more higher chance to get that creeping horror again. So I don't have it. I'm thinking to get that as well and test it out, but at some point I will definitely gonna have all the symbols. It's kind of really hard to farm Ether right now with all the people who's farming, trying to get the symbols and things like that, especially after the new changes after the previous patch that they did. So there is a little bit of changes on the Ether farm as well, which I'm working on a video on that part as well. Alright guys, let's move on to the Lightbinder. And the Lightbinder is, let's see, the first one is the Patronage of Light. But the Lightbinder support or a boost healing from all sources by 20% of the Lightbinder and their allies. Sparks of Anger has a chance to knock a healing orb out of enemy, and that chance is increased with every use. It's a pretty good thing when you're just supporting your teammates and things like that. So extra healing orbs, that's pretty cool. Not sure if you're using that Spark of Anger a lot. You're usually targeting the allies to flood or use the left clicks, which is a Particle of Light, I believe. Is it a Particle of Light? No, it's a Pulsating Flare, sorry. Just to get that extra damage from your enemy to the boss. I mean, from your ally to the boss. So pretty just full support symbol, which is pretty good. I think everyone using it at the moment. But the next one is the Wrath of the Sun, which is kind of not as good for the Lightbinder. Even for full DPS, not sure if it actually gonna work for the PvP part as well. But whoever has that, well, just go ahead and test it out, who actually does run missions and do the PvP stuff. So what it does is Unstable Shield is replaced with the Wrath of the Sun. The ability knocks enemies away from the Lightbinder, dealing damage to them after landing. The The affected enemies will be stunned for 1.5 seconds and will have a slowing effect applied to them, which grows weaker over time. If it works for PvP, it might be useful, but I think it doesn't make sense for you to change the unstable shield to something like that. So it's better protect yourself with a shield, because 1.5 seconds to stun the enemies and even like knock enemies away from the Lightbinder, it's not a big of a deal. 1.5 seconds stunned, it's not that a lot, so I don't think that symbol actually worth anything. Possibly you don't need to get that at all, but because by the description I don't think it's a really good ability. So unless it deals pretty good damage, maybe, but I don't think that ability is worth getting it, at least for now. Maybe there will be in the future, they will do some changes on specific symbols. So the last one is the blinding light. Boosted by Triumph of Light, Particle of Light, which is your right click, disorients affected enemies for 3 seconds and increases the chance to deal critical damage to them by 20% for you and your allies. The Triumph of Light effect is always activated at the start of a combat. So this is actually a pretty good symbol, especially for the first in the beginning, like a burst. Let's say if you're doing the distortion and it requires full buff in the beginning, I mean that would be the pretty good symbol to use right from the start, because it activates in the beginning of the combat. So that's pretty cool. But other thing to actually activate that, and again we're gonna have to use the Merciful Blow, which is a finishing strike. That's how you get the Triumph of Light, and it says at the bottom, makes the next particle light of burning stream free and increases their damage by 200%. So that's the only way you can activate this symbol after the first use. But if you're fighting only the boss and there is no like minions or adds that boss summons, then it may not actually work for a long run, but depends on the power of your team, how strong they are, so it might help a bit, especially for the most part right now. Whoever has the Fighter Knight weapon for the Necromancer and know how to play Necromancer rotation for the main burst during the raids, then it might definitely help a lot. So yeah, I think red one and the emerald one would be the two symbols to go, and again depends on the situation. If you want to go like all crazy mode and just try to nuke at the boss, deal as much damage as you can in the first buff right from the beginning of the battle, then you may try use that one. If you want to just go for a long run, I would go for the Patronage of Light. So let's move on to the Soundwave, which is going to be pretty interesting. So the first one is a striking opening. Summoned Amplifier stuns targets to 2.5 seconds where it lands, pulling them towards it and dealing damage in the area, while also restoring 10 points of energy to the Soundwave if it hits at least one target. Well, and again, it doesn't say anything about the PvP part, so it might work the same way as the PvP, and it could be a pretty good thing, especially if you're playing the Soundwave for PvP. You don't actually have anything to get out of the, like, you know, kind of protect yourself, I would say. So maybe that one would help, especially if you're doing with a team. You at least have some kind of stun abilities to use that. So, but again, it doesn't say anything about the PvP, if it works or not. So whoever's doing PvP, try it again. Try it if you have that symbol, which is pretty easy to get. So the next one is the Hymn of Swiftness. Activating any rhythm removes control effects from the Soundwave for 6 seconds and grants immunity to them. It also increases movement speed by 30% and protects against 30% of incoming damage. That one is, I think, most of the Soundwave is using right now, especially when you run in raids. distortions avatar, because you go full support mode just to buff your allies and things like that. So I would definitely get that first and then I would work towards the next one, which would be the acoustic resonance. Activating a new rhythm within 12 seconds of the last one will reduce the cooldown to the ultimate ability by 6 seconds. The effect works only in combat. So pretty much it again depends on the situation. It kind of sucks right now that we can only use one symbol at the time. Hopefully in the future, with new upgrades, new content, whatever they're gonna come up with, hopefully we can use multiple new class symbols at the same time. So that would be a pretty good thing, because now after that you can choose, you know, what kind of setup you want to go. So but it, on the other hand, it could be like overkill, because if you can use at least these two abilities at the same time, so it's probably going to be overkill. So but again, we don't know, we'll see what's going to be next. I don't want to actually think about what's going to happen in the future in Skyforge, what they're going to come up with at the moment. So but it's not too impressive. Like I said, depends on the situation. If you want to use your ultimate ability as often as you can, then that the symbol would go would be the good choice to go. So since you have 3 minutes cooldown on the ability, right, 3 minutes, no, actually 220. So and every let's say every 10 seconds, if you're gonna use new rhythm, because you get that let's say right here, right, where is that, for the first 10 seconds allies deals 40 more damage and things like that. So pretty much after the 10th second you're using the new rhythm, and that will activate that symbol and reduce the cooldown by 6 seconds. Since you can do that pretty often with your rhythms, if you have all the time energy, it could bring your ultimate ability cooldown really fast. Plus, if you can combine that with the rhythm of inspiration, which also reduce the cooldown of ultimate abilities for everyone, then your ultimate ability gonna your ultimate ability cooldown is gonna go really fast. So definitely these two, but the Hymn of the Swiftness would be the first one, so go for it as well, and it's definitely gonna help you out for the more survivability and things like that. So yeah guys, I think this is it for this video. It's just the support classes. Like I said in the beginning of the video, next is going to be defense, and then I will probably split for the 2 parts on the DPS classes for that. So since there is a lot of things to talk, and again, I don't want to make videos too long. Alright guys, so this is it for this video guys. Smash that like if you like this video, and tell me what you think about new symbols, and at least just for the support one. So which one you kind of don't like at all, or maybe description doesn't make any sense for you and things like that. So, and yes, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet, and activate notification button that you won't miss new video I post. You can also follow me on Twitter and join my Discord server. Links will be in the description. Until the next time, take care.